Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I hope you all are doing well. I hope for all the moms out there, had a fabulous Mother's Day on Sunday. Um, Got to spend a lot of time with family, which was wonderful. I'm just checking to make sure my stuff is working. So if you heard anything in the background, sorry. Let me just check Facebook before I get started on. Perfect. I always forget. Should probably. There we go. All right. So I hope you all are doing well, enjoying your spring weather. Now that it's like warming up again, I know I talk about the weather all the time. That's because I'm solar powered and I get so excited for warmth. I still have my heater on in my office, um, but I'm just pulling up my information. There we go. Okay. There we go. That's what I wanted. All right. So I'd love to hear, drop in the comment section below anything that is coming up for you guys regarding maybe the past, you know, talks that I had or live trainings that I've had. If you have questions on them, this group and these talks, they are specific for you. So I want to make sure that you are getting the information that you're wanting and needing. My goal is obviously for you to be able to use this and take it home and start to recognize maybe areas that you can improve on so that you can start to get symptom relief, especially fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, a lot of autoimmune conditions when our guts are imbalanced. That we have a lot of inflammation going on, and we have a lot of inflammation in the body going on. It's going to affect so many different systems. So I talked about adrenal health. I talked about thyroid health, hormones. Those are all going to be affected, and they can all affect our current situations and illnesses as well. They also are connected with our mental health and well-being too. And so the food that we put into our body has a huge impact on our brain, cognitive function, um, any increased risk for depression or anxiety or OCD. There are what we eat affects our mental health and well-being in so many different ways. So you've all heard the phrase, you are what you eat, right? We've heard that forever, but it was always in the context of usually like weight and appearance. But it goes beyond it goes beyond that. What you eat does make you who you are. It's really true, especially in regards to our mental health and our mental well-being. All of our cells, including our brain cells, are continually renewing themselves. And the foods that we eat help fuel this cell regeneration. So it's important that we're putting in the right things. So I tell my clients and during presentations, I am always emphasizing that the foods that you eat carry information to your cells and your body. So, what are you trying to communicate with your cells? What are you trying to communicate with your body? Are the foods that you are putting in your mouth and in your body the right things that you're wanting to communicate? What information are you sending throughout your body? Is it positive information to help you thrive? Or is it negative information that is like sewer sludge for your body? Are you putting in sewer sludge for your body and really backing up those pipes and the highways and all of that? We need to have optimally functioning cells in order to feel great, in order to help reduce our symptoms and heal them. So it's crucial and really important to look at what you're putting in your body. And so that's my goal, is to make you well aware of that. And I hope that I have succeeded so far in doing so. I'm trying to show you all these different systems that come together to make you you, and how like you don't have one system just working by itself. Everything is working synergistically. So that is a big takeaway. I want you to get to know yourself, what helps you thrive, what maybe, creates trigger, or what's triggering for symptoms for you for different flares. Everyone is so unique and so different. Where are some areas that you can really improve on? How is your gut health? All these different things. And now we're going to look at your mental health and well-being. Especially with autoimmune conditions, with fibromyalgia, with any chronic disease, honestly, and just in today's society in general. Anxiety is huge. Depression is huge. Just, feeling blah. Seasonal affective disorder is huge. And a lot of times that's because we're deficient in vitamin D. So this is going to be a two-part series. Today, I'm just going to kind of go into the introduction of how food really fuels your mental health and well-being, how it can also, be detrimental depending on what you're putting in your body. And then next week, I'll be going more specifically with different nutrients and dietary patterns. So, and I will even get a little more specific on like depression and anxiety, the top two that we really see in people, people struggling with different nutrients that really have a huge impact on these two conditions. So I'll go into those specifics next week. But right now, I want to get the intro going. I feel like you guys probably know my rhythm now. Get an introduction, then a follow up. So there's always a little bit of a series that goes with my talks. But I also want to emphasize that food can also be a drug, and it can make you feel better or worse. It can make you feel energized, or it can make you feel sleepy. Food affects every aspect of your health, including your ability to think quickly and clearly, your ability to perform at work and in your day, your energy level and mood. Again, what information are you putting in your body? Are you putting in that sewer sludge? So it's bringing you down. It's weighing you down. It's gunking up the brain. It's gunking up the highways. Or are you feeding yourself with vibrantly colored foods and getting in half your plate of non-starchy vegetables, getting in fatty fish with high omega-3 fats in your diet, having healthy fats, getting in enough quality protein and complex carbs so that you can feel happier. Like those whole foods and, having a balance within them is going to help you feel so much happier. It's really going to affect your mental health and well-being, and also your body physically. Your physical and athletic performance, those can get severely hindered if we're gunking up the system with sewer sludge. Your skin, your hair, your nails, your eyes, your teeth, your mucus, like all of these things that make us us and physically make us are going to be affected too. And you can see when you're maybe not eating quite as well, your hair might be dull. You might have dry skin or poor skin. You might see it manifest as acne. Your skin might just look very dull. Whereas if you're eating a lot of whole foods, people tend to get a glow to their skin because it's medicinal for your body. It is, vibrant. You're putting in these vibrant foods. It's going to show in your skin and help you glow. So I just wanted to really highlight that before I jump in now to, a little overview of nutrition and mental health. So let's think about this. Your brain is always on, even while you are sleeping. It does not stop. While you're sleeping is the time that your brain can actually process what you've been through in the day. It helps you process the different events that may have taken place. It helps with reducing toxins too, or detoxifying. There we go, that word. Clearly, I need to add a little more vibrant foods into my diet right now. But it's always on. It's never stopping. We don't want it to stop. wanted to keep going. But it's, it takes up with your thoughts and your movements, your breathing and your heartbeat, your senses. Again, 24/7, your brain is working. So your brain also consumes 15% of your total cardiac output, 20% of your oxygen uptake, and 25% of your total glucose. That is just your brain. Think of all of the other systems and organs in your body that also need to function. So they're also using things up. But this is your brain, 15% cardiac output, 20% oxygen uptake, again, 25% total glucose uptake. So we want to make sure we're also having the right carbs, all of that stuff. There's a lot of energy when it comes to our brain activity. And our brain requires a constant supply of fuel. So this is going to obviously come from the foods that you eat. So what's in that food and in that fuel is going to make a huge impact. It directly affects your structure and your function of your brain, which is then also going to affect your mood. If the structure and function of our brain is changing and it's getting sludgy, again, with the sewer sludge that we're putting in there, that's really going to impact our mood. We're not going to feel great. We're going to probably see more depression and anxiety. We're going to see a lot of things kind of popping up. It's estimated that 264 million people worldwide are impacted by a mental health disorder, and depression is one of the main causes of disability worldwide. About 13% of global burden of disease is either mental, neurological, or substance use disorders. Nutrition plays a key role in promoting your mental health and well-being, and your brain functions best, again, when you have and give it premium fuel. If you are driving your car, are you wanting to give your car that you're paying for the gas you need to get from A to B? You want to have some top quality fuel, don't you? You don't want to have this crappy fuel that all of a sudden you run out of gas in the middle of a highway and now you're calling for help and systems are going haywire. No, you want premium fuel so that you can get from point A to point B. You are going to have a smooth ride. It's actually going to be great for your engine and for all the mechanical parts in your car. If you're giving it crappy fuel, there's going to be a lot more chemicals and toxins and probably buildup in your car, right? Mind you, I also don't know anything about cars, so I can't give the correct language for that, but you know what I'm saying, right? Where I'm trying to make this relatable to everyday things like driving. So apologies if I don't have great car words. But if you get the gist what I'm saying, you want to put that premium fuel in your car, just like you want to put premium fuel in your body. So that means, getting in the high quality foods that contain lots of different vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. We want nutrient dense foods. We want those colorful foods. We want those wild caught fish, the organic pasture raised meats, pastured eggs, top quality as best as we can. Obviously, I understand that there are limitations too, but we want to do the best that we personally can. So these quality foods are going to nourish the brain and protect it from oxidative stress. Oxidative stress can damage the cells, create more toxins in the cells, go around and really just wreak havoc on our cells from functioning optimally. They just can start to destroy them. So we want to have protection against that. Oxidative stress, it's the waste. It's the free radicals that are produced when your body uses oxygen, and they can go around and damage cells. But it's also the waste that can be produced from different toxins that you're consuming too. So oxidative stress can be in different forms, but we want to minimize it as best as we can and protect against it. So you want to have a diet that provides all essential nutrients that will help prevent any nutrient deficiencies as well. That will reduce the risk of any mental health conditions, help you perform better mentally. Proper nutrition, including adequate fiber intake, promotes healthy GI function too, because there is a connection, which I will get to in a minute, with our gut and our brain. But nutrition can impact mental health conditions such as, but not limited to, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, OCD, and more. Those are just a short but common list. Food choices can impact our mood and our future food choices too. So, what you choose now is going to set up and help you with maybe a better or happier mood, which then, if you're in a happier mood, you're likely going to choose better foods and keep choosing those better foods. Whereas a lot of times, if we are starting to put in that sludge, the sewer sludge foods, we are gunking up the systems. We're not going to think quite as clearly. We feel blah. We might have anxiety and then stress eat. And when we're stress eating, we're just picking whatever foods we can. Depression might just be like, I just need something that makes me feel good. And it could be comfort foods that maybe, aren't as great, or you're very fatigued because of your mood. And so you need the high sugar foods. And then do you see where I'm getting at? Like, the food choices that you make are setting you up for those future food choices too. And the more you choose the nutrient dense foods, the easier it's going to get, because it's going to impact your mood and it's going to impact your energy, and it's going to help you choose those foods the next time. So it's this big cycle. Food choices also influence the risk of nutrition related diseases like type 2 diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, cancers, even, autoimmune conditions, etc. So there's a lot to it. It helps you choose those future foods, but it can also help reduce your risk of mental disorders and reduce your risk of various diseases down the line too, help reduce inflammation within the body. It can help improve current symptoms. There's a lot to our current food choices. So unfortunately, some mental health conditions can also cause changes in appetite, whether that's skipping meals, that can lead to nutrient deficiencies, that can lead to worsening of conditions, or some people might have cravings and increased food intake that's associated with maybe depression or anxiety. That can lead to even like weight gain, or increased fat distribution in your body, which then can quick meals and foods for busy running and go 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 life. Let me see 1 second on where this came from. I want to see who is talking to me. Hello, whoever you are. All right. Hi. I was thinking it might have been you, but I didn't want to jump to the gun. So yes, the quick meals and foods, because the busy life. Yes, I know, and it sets you up even more, because it just doesn't set you up for very well. It can actually hinder your energy. So then it's like, well, I don't have time to prep either because I'm too tired now. Whereas maybe if we were able to have some of the different food choices or prep a little bit when we get the time to make the easier choices, it's this snowball effect. Let me know if that makes any sense. But yeah, yep, picking foods, it's especially the go 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 busy lifestyle, it's difficult. And if there's any way that you can have any extra help, whether that's even, whether it's choosing frozen fruits or vegetables that might be out of season, or getting pre-chopped vegetables from the grocery store instead of chopping them yourself. There's little things like that can help, really make things a little easier. But it does require some prepping. Even if you can get your family to help you, you can make a little mission out of it. Everyone's in charge of something, and then you're all doing it together, and it can be a fun little project. But yes, it's a lot easier done than said. Biggest tip I can say is actually schedule your food prep on your calendar, just like you do appointments. Make it happen. It's on your calendar. Do it. But all right, Yes. And then, like, we don't want to skip foods. We want to notice if we're having increased cravings, that kind of stuff too. Genes and genetics are going to play a role as well, with especially when it comes to our mental health and well-being. We can be predisposed to certain, like anxiety, depression, substance abuse disorders, eating disorders, things like that. But just because you have that gene doesn't mean that it's your destiny. It does not mean it's your destiny. Yes, you are more prone to seeing that in your future or maybe experiencing it, but that doesn't mean that it's going to happen. And if you're able to, consume foods that can support your mental health and well-being, you're going to reduce that risk even more of those genes turning on. Kids love to chop fruit and veggies. Yes. Oh, and yay, you're doing it right now. Perfect. Yeah, if you give them a task, it's so nice. I eventually would love to have my son help me chop fruits and veggies. I need to get the right kind of knife for him, and he likes to play ninja a lot, so sometimes I'm a little worried. Working on that. If you have any tips on that, please let me know. Medications, those can also influence your mental health and well-being too. There are, a lot of people who are suffering with mental health conditions are also put on medications. And there's been a lot of new studies finally being brought to light that a lot of antidepressants actually have. Oh, yes, please do. I would love to see what you use for kids' knives. I definitely need to get some here. And certain medications, especially like antidepressants, have been shown to actually increase suicidal thoughts, increase depression, increase anxiety. There's a lot of warnings being shown now. Obviously, like, it varies on the person. If you can get off medication, that's only, like, I try to minimize medications as much as possible just because there are so many side effects. But they have their use, right? So they can be very helpful as well. But I also want people to understand that there are warnings with this too. So not telling people to get off medications at all. Like, no, talk with your doctor. If you want to do that, get a weaning process down. I have done that myself. I've been on medication for anxiety, for antidepressants, sleep, what have you, way in the past. So I've been there myself. They were perfect for the time that I needed. So there's other, medications too that people might be put on that can lead to food and drug nutrient interactions. You might have different medications that can increase or suppress your appetite too, which can then, increase or lower your caloric intake, can lead to food deficiencies, or can lead to weight gain. Like, all those things then can also impact your mental health and well-being. So now let's quickly discuss, gut health and the gut-brain axis. So your gut, also known as the second brain or the ENS, enteric nervous system, there is a bidirectional relationship between the second gut and, or the second brain, not the second gut. Oh my gosh, we are not cattle. The second brain and your current, like, first brain. So your gut and your brain are communicating. And it goes both ways, that bidirectional communication. It's a byway. You can notice it. Like, if you're nervous about something, you can feel the butterflies in your stomach. That right there is showing that connection. Or when you have a thought about eating a certain food, it actually releases gastric acid juices to start getting ready to prepare to digest that food that you're just even thinking about. So your body is constantly doing this. A troubled intestine sends signals to the brain, just like a troubled brain sends signals to the gut. Stomach or intestinal distress can be the cause or the product of anxiety, stress, or depression. The vagus nerve is one of the biggest nerves that connects our gut and our brain. And there's also a connection through our immune system. 70 to 80% of our immune system resides in our gut. We also have neurons that are not only found in our brain and our central nervous system. We have 100 billion in the human brain, but we have about 500 million neurons that are also in our gut. And these neurons tell our body how to behave. So there's also a connection between the gut and the brain through neurotransmitters. These help control your feelings and emotions. Think of like serotonin, helps provide you with feelings of happiness, controls your body clock, helps regulate sleep, regulates your appetite, can help inhibit pain. 90 to 95% is actually created or produced in our gut. So what we eat is going to help with that production of serotonin so that, we can be happy, we can have quality sleep, we can, have a healthy appetite, so that it's, properly regulated. Unfortunately, lack of sunlight can also lead to a decrease in our serotonin production. So if a lot of people who are here in Minnesota or in areas where you don't get quite as much sun, especially if you're not out in the winter time, you're going to start to have your serotonin production deplete. That can lead to depression. That can lead to further food cravings, especially carbohydrate cravings when we have that decrease in our serotonin. So you can boost your serotonin with healthy, high quality, complex starches and carbohydrates. Think of whole grains, think of sweet potatoes, yams, pumpkins, squash. Those can all help you produce more serotonin. So when you have that decrease in your serotonin production and you're having those carb cravings, your body's trying to tell you, hey, let's get those carbs so that we can actually amp up our serotonin production and feel happy. Unfortunately, a lot of the times we are getting those quick sugary carbs, those simple sugars, just to try to boost our mood. And it's not necessarily the quality ones that we actually need that we're consuming. So we want to have the complex carbohydrates, like the whole grains, the squashes, sweet potatoes, yams, pumpkins, like those are going to be great to help boost that serotonin. So many neurotransmitters are produced by our gut cells and the trillions of microbes living there. Our gut microbial diversity also plays a huge role in it. So we want to have, diverse communities in our gut. A healthy gut produces 90% of our serotonin, 50% of our dopamine, and over 30 other neurotransmitters. So it is important that we have a healthy gut. And unfortunately, a lot of us with fibro, autoimmune conditions, chronic fatigue, a lot of us have leaky gut, or our guts are out of balance. So we got to get these down in order to help improve our symptoms, autoimmune conditions, but also our mood too. Our gut microbes also produce something called gamma aminobutyric acid, or GABA, which helps control feelings of fear and anxiety. And so a lot of people who are overly anxious are not producing much GABA. So there are supplements out there that can help with producing GABA, but if we get our gut in alignment, if we get our gut healed, our body can start to produce more GABA, and we can start to lessen that anxiety, have more of the calm in the body. So there are certain probiotics that can also increase GABA too. And that will help reduce anxiety and even help reduce depression. Our gut microbes make other chemicals that affect our brain too. So they produce a lot of short chain fatty acids like butyrate, propionate, and acetate. So these short chain fatty acids are created by what our gut bacteria and those microbes feed off of. So if we are providing the prebiotic or foods for our different organisms living in our gut, they then produce these short chain fatty acids as their digestive metabolite. So it's almost like this gas that they produce. Um, and short chain fatty acids affect our brain function in many ways. They can help reduce appetite. They can help with clearer thinking, help with reducing cognitive decline. There's so much help with our memory, all these things. So again, these are produced by our microbes digesting fiber or prebiotics that we provide them. So our gut microbes also make and metabolize bile acids and amino acids. Amino acids also help with the neurotransmitters, for building blocks of neurotransmitters. Um, they also help our microbes help produce vitamin K in the body, and biotin if we're giving them the foods that they need in order to do so. Um, so when we're starving our microbes of the foods that they need, we also start to see vitamin K lowered, and we start to see less biotin being produced in our body. So that's where like deficiencies in these vitamins can come up. Our gut microbes also affect inflammation. There's that connection through the immune system. So our gut microbes help control what is passed into our body and help control what is excreted from our body. So if our immune system is on for too long, this can lead to, which a lot of us, our immune systems are switched on for too long. It leads to inflammation, chronic inflammation in the body, which can lead to depression and other chronic diseases, autoimmune conditions, and neuropsychiatric disorders are closely associated with persistent systemic low-grade inflammation in the body. And inflammatory processes underlie the development of neuropsychiatric symptoms. So it's this snowball effect that we see. This is when we can also see leaky gut happening too with this chronic inflammation. So, or not providing our gut with the healthy probiotics and the healthy foods to help these gut microbes thrive. So we can start to get an imbalance where we start to see an overgrowth of bad bacteria in the gut. And we have less of the good bacteria. And we need to have a balance between the two for healthy, optimal functioning gut. So when we start to see this imbalance, we start to see development of psychiatric disorders as well, which also induces immune responses and that low-grade inflammation. That low-grade inflammation can help, if you've seen my leaky gut video, which I would recommend going back to, but we have these little gates along our GI tract that allow certain things to go through, get to, the bloodstream, get to our cells, and then keep others at bay and get excreted out from the body. But what happens when we have this chronic inflammation going on and we don't have a healthy gut, these gates start to open and we can get pathogens seeping through, we can get toxins seeping through, and it gets into bloodstream and cells and different areas of our body that we don't want to see these problems. And then it only increases our inflammation and snowball effect. So it just heightens that inflammatory response and really keeps things going. We can see this leaky gut also influenced by an increase in dietary fat, of unhealthy dietary fat. So, if you're consuming those fried foods, those processed foods, processed baked goods, a lot of those processed foods and quick foods that we go to when, maybe we're down, depressed, low energy, anxious, a lot of these go-tos, whatever is easiest for us. It impairs our gut health. And then it also can lead to obesity. It can lead to, our blood sugars being imbalanced and dysregulated, which then causes a whole slew of issues too. So as you see, so many systems go hand in hand. There are probiotics that also affect our brain health, and we call these psychobiotics. Some have been shown to improve symptoms of stress, anxiety, and depression. Prebiotics, again, that's the food that's going to feed the gut microbes in our GI tract to help them thrive, and foods that can support our gut-brain axis. Omega-3 fats, uh, there's a high quantity found in our brain. We find these in our oily fish, nuts and seeds. You can find these in supplements. The omega-3 fatty acids can increase good bacteria in our gut and reduce the risk of brain disorders. Fermented foods are great. They're going to contain those probiotics and a lot of times prebiotics too. But like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, some cheeses, kimchi, um, fermented vegetables, those are all great. And then having high fiber foods is also very, very impactful on our mental health and well being. So think of whole grains, nuts and seeds, fruits and legumes, and beans, a variety of vegetables. They're also going to provide those prebiotic fibers that help feed the good gut bacteria, reduce cortisol, which is our stress hormone, which is also great. Um, so there's a lot. Foods that other foods would be like your polyphenol rich foods. So those colorful plants or produce. Remember, eat the colors of the rainbow, not the Skittles variety, but in produce variety. These plant chemicals are digested by our gut bacteria. They increase our healthy gut bacteria and can also improve our cognition. Some sources, think of like green tea, olive oil, cocoa is also great. But these polyphenols are found in our colorful fruits and vegetables. Tryptophan rich foods are also great. Tryptophan is amino acid that converts into serotonin in the body. Remember that happiness neurotransmitter. Some sources include turkey, eggs, cheese, all those animal products, even popcorn too. And then obviously there are negative dietary patterns that can really inhibit our mental health and well-being as well. So studies have demonstrated that short-term consumption, just even 1 to 7 days of an unhealthy diet, like one that is high in saturated fat from processed foods, baked goods, fried foods, or high sugar foods, trigger inflammation in our brain. Just 1 to 7 days. Studies have also shown that that the more that one eats a Western or highly processed diet, think of the low fiber, high sugar, simple carbs, um, the unhealthy fats, high in unhealthy fats. That's the Western diet. They're more at risk of developing psychiatric problems like depression and anxiety. Also, Western diet is typically higher in omega-6 fats and low in omega-3 fats. So we have this high omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, which is very pro-inflammatory. Let's get rid of those seed oils, even a lot of those vegetable oils, processed foods, all that stuff. And it's going to help you. A high fat or high sugar diet exhibits robust impairments in various types of memory, like spatial memory, contextual memory. So these unhealthy fats are what I'm talking about, not the omega-3 fats from like your fatty fish, nuts and seeds. But studies are showing that adult humans who consumed a high fat diet for 5 days significantly reduced focused attention, reduced retrieval speed of information from working, and episodic memory. Many studies have found a correlation between a diet high in refined sugars and impaired brain function and worsening of mood disorders, especially depression. So when your brain is deprived of good quality nutrition or having this oxidative stress that's occurring in the brain, we actually start to see brain tissue injury too. So again, what you eat really does affect your mental health and well-being. Consequences of a poor diet also impacts, your increased risk for obesity. There is a bidirectional relationship between obesity and psychiatric disorders like depression, Alzheimer's disease as well. There's also that increase in dysregulated insulin. So we see a lot of that insulin resistance when we see that increase in obesity. That increases your inflammation in the body, which then increases for those neuropsychiatric disorder development. So obesity may lead to systemic insulin resistance, like I mentioned, reduces the insulin signaling in your brain, and that can show a connection between depression, anxiety, and even schizophrenia. Poor nutrition, again, a lot of times is also going to lead to poor glucose regulation, which, just blood glucose regulation in the body, whether you have too low of blood sugars or too high of blood sugars, they're not in the normal range. And that's going to lead to cognitive deficits as well. So, that right there is an intro to how foods can really affect your mental health and well being. So, what you eat is either going to fuel your brain and nourish your brain to thrive, or it's going to help provide that sewer sludge that really just gunks things up, can hinder your thinking process, can hinder your mood, hinder your energy, all these different things, increase your risk for symptoms that you might be experiencing now with autoimmune conditions, increase your risk of various diseases and disorders. There's just so much. Like I mentioned, next week I will go into specific nutrients, um, and like even caffeine and anxiety and things like that. And I'll go specifically with depression and anxiety and those specific nutrients in there too. So this was a lot longer than I was planning for, and I apologize for that. I hope you found this helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions at all. And I would love to know. Drop in the comments below. What are some of your foods that really help you feel sharp, help you have a good mood? What have you noticed really makes a difference in your life and your mental well-being? I would love to know. Um, as always, you guys take care. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I'll see you soon.